Hello, I am Cheryl Mason, Chairman of the Board of Veterans Appeals at the Department of Veterans Affairs. I'm also a former military spouse, now a veteran spouse, and I'm very passionate about hiring and retaining military spouses in all areas of employment, but especially in the federal government. So I want to talk to you today about who the Board of Veterans Appeals is. So the Board of Veterans Appeals is responsible for holding hearings and deciding appeals on behalf of the Secretary from Veterans Health Administration, Veterans Benefits Administration, National Cemetery Administration, and General Counsel to ensure that veterans are receiving the benefits that they have earned and deserve. So it's important to remember that veterans, like all of us, are individuals who bring their own experience and perspectives and history to each of their appeals. And the board's job is to look at those appeals and apply the law, whether it's case law, regulation, or statute, and then apply that law so that we can try to get to the veteran to yes. We call that the rule of equipoise. If the law is in balance, then the veteran wins. As chairman of the board, I lead a team of nearly 1,200 people, which includes judges, attorneys, administrative staff, and operations staff to adjudicate and resolve veterans' appeals. In FY 2021, the board decided nearly 100,000 decisions, 99,721 to be exact, and we held a record number of hearings, 23,777 hearings. This is the board's fourth consecutive year of record-setting numbers, and I'm very proud of the board and its team of hardworking, great, amazing people. I also have the honor of being the Hiring Our Heroes champion within VA and across the federal government for military spouse employment. So why is military spouse employment important to me? Well, I lived it. As a military spouse, I know how hard it is to find meaningful employment, but I also know the benefits of employing military spouses because I currently employ several military spouses here at the board, and we do so in all of VA. So my own experience taught me and showed me how hard it is to find employment as a military spouse. When I left Washington, D.C. as a GS-13 attorney several years ago, and we moved to Germany, Ramstein, Germany, I was told, oh, you won't have a problem finding a job. 200 applications later, I still didn't have a job. I used my military spouse network to find a temporary GS-6 executive secretary position, which turned into a full-term position. And let me tell you, I gained amazing skills in that position. Was it in my normal area of work? It was not. But quite frankly, I wouldn't have been prepared for the job I do today had I not held that position. But it was hard. It was hard on my family. It was hard on my husband, who was worried about me while he was deployed. And I got the job actually while he was deployed. So I understand how hard it is. But the other piece to remember is, and what I've learned from my experience, when we came back stateside, it again took a little bit to find another job, and this time as an attorney. I had to go backward in grade before I came forward. But then my husband made the decision to retire, and that was a hard decision to make. And we made that decision because my job was changing, and he was ready to transition. The fact that I had permanent, solid employment made his transition easier. So just remember that the military spouse employment helps with the veteran's transition, but not only for the active member going to veteran status, but also for the family. So I get a lot of questions. Okay, I want to work for the federal government. Where do I look? Well, the federal government primarily uses USA Jobs, so that's the first place. But that's not the only place. The federal government also uses Indeed. Sometimes sub-agencies use Monster. And we also use LinkedIn. And how LinkedIn works is you will often see different people on LinkedIn share employment opportunities. So for instance, Amazon, Hiring Our Heroes, Corporate America Supports You, and Military Spouse Corporate Career Network both share, all of these places share employment on LinkedIn, and they share remote positions, federal government positions. The other one that shares on LinkedIn is Military Spouse Employment Partnership. And that's run out of DoD, but it's not just federal government, it's also private nonprofit areas who also advertise. So LinkedIn can be a great resource, and making those network connections, which I'll talk about in a minute. The other thing you need to be aware of is when you're applying for federal employment, those keywords are often really important. Using the right words. You might feel like you're repeating the same thing the job announcement says. That's good. That's what you want to do, because you want them to be able to see how those keywords, how you use those keywords as examples in work that you've had, even if it's volunteer experience, if it's PTA, if it's, whatever you've done, use and report that experience on your resume. And always, always, always identify yourself as a military spouse. And if you're a veteran, identify yourself as a veteran. There are hiring authorities out there for both military spouses and veterans, and the government can't take advantage of them and hire you if you don't tell us. So it's really important to do that. So networking, I mentioned it before, LinkedIn is a great place for networking. I have lots of people who contact me on LinkedIn because I'm active in the military spouse world as well as in other areas. And they just reach out, and sometimes we link and sometimes we don't. Sometimes they just may have a question. I had someone who reached out who said, look, I've been trying to apply for a position at VA, and it doesn't look like they're using the military spouse hiring authority. What's going on? And I said, let me run that up the chain. And I went to the department HR people and said, this is what I'm hearing. And they said, give me the person's name and contact and we'll reach out. And they did. So that's a great example. Military spouses on LinkedIn, we still stick together and we still support each other, even virtual. That's what we do. And so don't be afraid to reach out and ask people questions or contact people. Like I said, Amazon's out there, Hiring Our Heroes is out there, Booz Allen Hamilton is out there. The list could go on and on. Military Spouse Employment Partnership. There are so many great companies and organizations that are out there that are supporting military spouse employment and people who are involved in that, both in the federal government and in the private sector. And so reach out, because you never know where those connections will lead you and what opportunities will come from those. Also use Facebook. I always, people worry about Facebook and putting professional things on Facebook. You can use Facebook with your military spouse community the same way you use LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is more of a professional connection, but Facebook also, there's sometimes job opportunities out there, or you can connect with someone there. But use your military spouses at your facility, at your base, the people that is what got me the job in Germany, was through another military spouse. So build those relationships. We support each other. That is what we do, whether we're in person or we're virtual. And even though I'm not a military spouse anymore, and I'm now a veteran spouse, I'm still passionate, and I will still support military spouses and encourage military spouses and do everything I can to ensure that military spouses can get the employment they want and desire, because it makes the military stronger, it makes the military family stronger. And I understand, because I've lived it, how much it helps and supports the veteran family during transition. So that leads me to my next slide. Military spouses do play a key role in transitioning when your service member is transitioning from active duty to veteran status. Remember, it's not one and done. First of all, transition is a transition, but it doesn't just happen and then it's over. It's an ongoing process, and sometimes it lasts for a little bit. But the other piece is that it's not just the active duty member who's transitioning, it's the spouse and the family. because everybody's changing. And so if the spouse has solid, stable employment, that enables the active duty member to transition and be a little comfortable, give time to look around, find the right jobs. There are so many great opportunities out there for our transitioning service members to find temporary positions to see if that works, to do fellowships. Finding your tribe is important, and finding your fit with a new organization and where you fit, where the service member fits, but also where the family fits, because that's an important thing. So it sometimes takes some time. You know, we all know that when you do a PCS, permanent change of station, it takes a little bit of time for us to kind of learn our way around. For me, it was always by the time I learned my way around, it was time to move again. So that's kind of like how transition is. By the time you get your feet on the ground and you feel solid, something may have changed, whether the kids got older, whether the job changed for some reason, and it might not be the right fit. And so just understand that transition is just that, it's transition, and everybody's trying to find their way. But as much as the military spouse stable employment can support the veteran through that, that means that the veteran will have more time to establish and maybe land in the right job. Just remember, veterans generally change jobs at least 2 times, maybe 3, in the first couple of years after separating from active duty. I think we're 14 years out, and I think my husband's had 7 different jobs, and that's just because he was finding his fit, and things changed with our family along the way. And so just remember that it's not one and done; it's an ongoing piece, and the military family and the military spouse is a vital piece of that process. So I want to give you some resources. We have some great resources in VA. We just launched the Veteran Sponsor Partnership Network. We have to have acronyms for everything, VSPN. And it's a web-based service that enables regional non-monetary partnerships with community organizations to help service members and their families that are transitioning access their VA services, such as employment opportunities, education benefits, and housing assistance. I will tell you, we are really working at VA to get that information out there to our transitioning service members about everything you can get at VA and the support we give you during transition. It's so amazing, and we are there for you. We want to help you transition, and this service is going to, I think, be one of our key areas that you're going to see us really grow. You can find more information on that on the website that's on the screen. We also have, of course, the VA Transition Assistance Program, TAP. I think everybody's probably familiar with those. Here's my advice on that. When you do your TAP presentation in service, they're supposed to have time for the spouse to come along, and I highly encourage the spouse to come, because if the spouse understands the process and everything that's going on, that helps. That helps the communication, that helps everybody know what's happening. More information is sometimes better, and people hear things differently. And so the service member may not catch something that the spouse will catch, and that's why you're a team. So then there's the services participants guides, which is also a transition TAP program. The other thing that's a key that VA is doing is our welcome kit. Our welcome kit, let me tell you, is just fabulous. You can get online, you can register for one. It's got all the benefits, tells you all about benefits, all about healthcare, everything we do at VA to support you through your transition and as a veteran. And then, of course, there's the National Resource Directory, and this is a database of validated resources. National Resource Directory is also very active on LinkedIn and Facebook, and you can find information on their website, but you can also find information in those places, and they provide, again, a wealth of information. So there are so many different resources out there. We couldn't list them all. We just gave you a slice. And I think I have one more slide, maybe. Nope, that's it. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate your time today. I know it was a short presentation. Just trying to leave you with the high points. My takeaway, because I always have one, is never take no for an answer. Keep trying. I was told no numerous times, and I didn't take no for answer. I kept pushing and I kept saying why. And then when I asked for support or I asked for help, I got it. And so do that. Ask for help, ask questions, but don't take no. Keep pushing. And good luck. And you can find me on LinkedIn if you want to follow me or have a question. Thank you so much. Have a great day.